Hi everybody, today we are going to talk about solving equations with combining like terms. Okay, so first we're going to talk about what it means to combine like terms. So when we see combine in math, we are going to put together, that's what combine means, and we're going to do this by adding them up. So combine means to add. Like in this context means same or similar. So we're looking for things that are same or similar. And then terms are just parts in your equations or expressions that are numbers or variables. So we're going to be adding up numbers or variables that are the same. So let's try example 1 together. There's 3 parts. So in this first one, I can see that we have 2 terms here. We have positive 7x and positive 12x. They both have an x. They're the same type of term, so I'm going to combine them. So here, all we have to do is add up these numbers in front, which are called the coefficients. I have 7x's here. I have 12x's here, which means I have 19x's total. So we just took something with 2 terms and we simplified it. We turned it into something with only 1 term. Now let's look at this next example. Here we actually have 3 terms, positive 6, negative 3x, and positive 8. So here I notice that I have 2 terms that are numbers. So I'm going to underline them, and what we have is positive 6 and positive 8. So instead of splitting up 2 numbers, let's combine them. 6 plus 8 is 14. Now, this last term that's left over, there's nothing for us to combine it with, so that term is going to stay the same, and that term is negative 3x. So this is our answer. You cannot combine constants or numbers with variables. However, you can swap the order of your answer. You could say negative 3x plus 14. As long as your 3x stays negative and your 14 stays positive, either answer is correct. Either way is fine. All right, let's look at this last one. Here I have 4 terms, negative 2, positive x, negative 4, and negative 4x. So I see that I can combine negative 2 and negative 4 because they're both numbers. They're both whole numbers. And then I see that I can combine positive x and negative 4x. So let's start by combining our numbers. I have negative 2 and negative 4. Since I have more negatives to start, I know my answer is going to be negative. Now, since the signs are the same, I'm actually going to add up the values. 2 plus 4 is 6. So negative 2 and negative 4 have been combined into negative 6. Now let's combine these 2 terms. I have negative 4x and positive 1x. We don't usually write the 1, but you can write it in if it helps you remember. So here I'm going to look at it and say, okay, I'm starting with more negatives. My answer is going to be negative. However, my signs are different. So that means I'm going to subtract the values. 4 minus 1 is 3. So I have negative 3x. And remember, you cannot combine a number with a variable. So this is our final answer. All right, go ahead and pause the video real quick and give these 3 a try. We will check in just a moment. Okay, check your answers here. Remember just to be careful with your signs. For example, positive 2x and negative 6x becomes negative 4x. I have more x's, but the signs are different, so I subtract the values to get 4. All right, so now we're going to try to solve some equations, but I have one really important question that we need to make sure we know the answer of. When can you combine like terms in an equation? So our rule is you can only combine when the like terms are on the same side of your equation. So let's look at these 2 examples. In this first example, just to help us visualize a little better, I'm going to put a wall in between the 2 sides. We always draw our wall at the equal sign. So I'm going to look at each side and see if I can combine anything. On the left side, I see that I have 2 terms that have x, so I could combine 3x and negative 2x. However, I cannot combine 7 and 1 even though they're both numbers, I cannot combine them because they are on different sides. So remember, you can only combine terms that are on the same side. Now let's look at the second example. Here's my wall. So what you might notice is that we can't combine anything. I have two terms with x, but they are on different sides, so you cannot combine them. I also have two numbers, but once again, they're on different sides, so you can't combine them. So it is really important that you look for opportunities to combine like terms because it makes the problems easier to solve. However, you can only do that when those terms are on the same side. All right, let's try these two examples together. So here we have 3 equals 6x minus 2 minus x. So I'm going to start by checking to see if there are any terms that I can combine. And I see on the right that I have two terms with x. So I can combine 6x and negative x. So we're always going to do that first. It's going to make the problem a little bit simpler. So if I have 6 x's and I take away 1 x, that leaves us with 5 x's. And that negative 2 remains negative 2. Now, this is just solving a two-step equation, which we've done earlier this week. So here's my variable. I have to move the 5 and the negative 2. I'm always going to start with that number that's not attached to the x. So the inverse of subtraction is addition. So I'll add 2 to both sides. 5 equals 5 times x. And the inverse of multiplication is division. So I'll divide by 5 on both sides. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 5x divided by 5 is 1x. So 1 equals x is my answer. All right, let's try part B together. Let's check to see if there's any terms that I can combine. On the left side, I see that I have two numbers, 12 and negative 7. So I'm going to combine those two numbers first. 12 minus 7 is 5. So we're left with 5 plus 4x equals 29. So I see that I need to move two numbers. I need to move the 5 and the 4. And I'm going to start with this 5. So the opposite of a positive 5 is a negative 5. So I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. I'm left with 4x equals 24. And then the opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by 4. And I get 1x equals 6. And that is our final answer. Okay, here's the last two. Go ahead and pause the video and give these a try. All right, go ahead and check your work below. Make sure you started by combining like terms and then check your steps and check your final solutions. Okay, that is all for today's lesson. Thank you so much for watching.